In the previous section, we've started learning Angular. In this section, we continue learning. Specifically, we'll look at routing, requesting data, services, add-ons, and how to test our application. In this video, we'll learn how to set up a routing in our application. Basically, there will be 4 steps: setting up a router, creating a dashboard route, creating image detail route, and adding links leading to routes. So, when you click link, you are redirected to concrete route. Angular router basically works in this way. User types URL in the browser, then this URL is matched with a component. This matching is based on URL to component map that we need to specify in app module. And later, when router finds matching component, it displays it. We're going to add router to our application and routes. First route will be dashboard. This will be place where we can see all our images. Second route will display single image and its details. First, you need to specify base URL of your application. If your application is in some directory, you need to change this base URL. This base URL is needed for Angular router to correctly generate URLs for you. Next, we need to go app module, import router here, and set up it. Okay, let's import router module and routes from Angular router. After we've imported router module and routes, we need to specify routes for our application. We need to create an array that will be of type routes. Inside it, we can specify objects with 2 properties, path and component. Path is simply URL user needs to type to enter this route, and component is something we need to create. It will be displayed when user enters that route. So let's create our dashboard component, which will contain our images. As you can see, we've used alias g for generate command. We've generated our dashboard component. As you can see, our dashboard component was generated. Now we can use it in our route. We have our first route set up. Let's proceed with configuration of router. Now we need to go to imports property of ng module. We need to specify that we import router module here. We need to do router module for route method. Later, we need to pass our routes, as you can see in this help. Next options are optional, so we don't need to specify them. Now we can enter our dashboard route in application, but we won't notice a difference. First, we need to remove images from app component and move them to dashboard component. And we also need to add router outlet to our app component template. It will be a place where router will render components that user entered URLs to. Okay, this is our app component template. Let's move this code to our dashboard component first. Next, instead of displaying images code in app component template, we put router outlet. At this moment, nothing is displayed when we enter dashboard route. It's because we also need to move JavaScript code with images array to our dashboard component. We need to move this import to dashboard component TypeScript. We also need to change relative path. We also need to grab code for images and a constructor. Here it is, we should be ready now. Let's go to our application. And we can see that if we're on dashboard route, we have our images displayed. To prove it's really working, we're going to remove dashboard from URL and nothing should be displayed instead of these images. And we can see nothing is displayed when we have only our base URL. And if we enter dashboard here, we can see our images. Let's go back to index route. Nothing is displayed here, but imagine user enters a URL of your application. You would like to redirect him to dashboard when he didn't enter dashboard by himself. We can also do this in Angular router. Let's go and do this now. We can also specify path with redirect to. We can see that we also need path match full property for empty path. It will now redirect to dashboard. And we can see it in action. If we're going to remove URL and press enter, we can see dashboard is added to the URL and we are redirected to our images. It's working fine. Now we're going to add image detail route. Okay, here's our setup of app routes for image detail. We can see also we have ID parameter here to be passed in the URL. We're going to use it in our component to find specific image and display it. For now, if we go to image, for example, 0, we'll see that image detail component is rendered, but it has no template. We need to display the image here. Components are meant to be reusable, so we can reuse our single image component here to display this one image. We can also add a header for user to see that we are on image detail route. And for now it looks like this, because our image is not yet found. We need to add TypeScript code to our component. Now we need to import something which is called ActiveRoute. It is Angular service which provides information about current active route. For example, we can get URL parameters from it. Parameter that's interesting for us when we're on image detail route is obviously image ID. So we'll try to get this ID and set image property of image detail component to found image with that ID. First, we need to import image type to this component. Later, we need to specify image property of this component. Later, we need to import activated route, params map, and router. Next, we need to modify our constructor to take advantage of dependency injection in Angular. Basically, when instance of image detail component will be created, it will be provided with two instances of these objects. First is current active route, and second is global singleton instance of router. In ng-on-init, we can take parameter from URL and display the image. So this is our dashboard component, and we see images array is hard-coded in constructor. We can move this to be a constant property and export it using export keyword. We've named our constant images mock. Now we should be able to import our images mock from our image detail component. Now we need to import images array from our dashboard component. When we have our images mock, we can proceed to ng-on-init to get advantage of params map of current active route. Current active route is under private route property. It has property called params. It's an observable. It's a concept from reactive programming, similar to promises. We can call subscribe method on this. In subscribe callback, we have access to params object. Now we can use our params ID, which we also need to convert to a number, as an index of our images mock array. In this example, ID of our image is its index in images.mock array. It's all we need to set up image detail route. Let's go to our application and see if it works. Currently, we're on dashboard route. Let's go to image0 route. And we can see red fish. Everything's working. We can also like our image. We should be also able to go to our shark image. It has index of 1. And we can see it also works. Now we'll try to add redirect, so when user clicks this image, he will be redirected to image details of red fish or shark. To do this, however, we need to implement real ID property and not rely on index in array. In our image entity class, we need to add property called ID. It will be of type number. In our images mock, we need to add IDs to our images. Now we need to adjust our image detail component to find images based on ID parameter. Now in our dashboard component, we can add links using router link attribute. Our route is image/id. In our example, we need to use image local variable and its ID. We can do this using interpolation. Basically, this will be replaced with image ID. Now when we're in our application, when we click on image, we can see we're redirected to it. We should also add router link to image ocean title, so when user clicks that, he will be redirected to dashboard. In our app component, we need to modify anchor element and replace greph with router link. Path is dashboard. Now we can navigate across our application. This is how we've implemented routing in Angular. Hope you like it. In this video, we've set up routes in our application.